Hi everybody, it's me, Jackie Arment, and I'm back again with another spooky video. Today is gonna be my spooky kind of Halloween specific video. I always try to get a video out right before Halloween, and I usually kind of try to theme it Halloween-y. You know, just something extra spooky, even though we do spooky all the time here. And the past couple years I've done, you know, a recipe. I think I did a pumpkin chili last year. Before that I did like soul cakes for Samhain. You know, just kind of fun stuff like that. And this year we're going to do something a little bit different. This time I am going to show you guys an episode of the series I have on my Patreon called TerrorTube. I thought it would be kind of fun to give you guys like a little taste, for those of you who aren't on my Patreon already and maybe you're thinking about it, of the kind of content that's over there. TerrorTube videos, if you don't know, if you haven't heard me talk about them almost every single video I have on YouTube, they are kind of a nod back to the horror host era of TV, and I do kind of different spooky things there. Sometimes there's movie reviews there. Sometimes I do ranking videos, like I talk about my favorite like werewolves in pop culture and stuff and why. And one kind of in particular video I do on my TerrorTubes is a kind of a series within a series, and it's called Booze and Booze. It's where I make a spooky cocktail and then I read some spooky stories. The way it started was the very first Booze and Booze episode was me reading a notebook full of ghost stories that I wrote when I was like 12. They're pretty terrible, but really funny to read, and it was kind of a fun time. And then I just kind of continued with this kind of little mini series. And the next time I think I read some like Reddit stories that had twist endings to them. And then this most recent Booze and Booze, which I'm going to show you today, was one where I read some of my favorite urban legends. They're ones that stuck out to me, ones that I remember from my youth hearing at sleepovers or at camp or something like that. And they were just ones that resonated with me, stuck with me, almost kind of made me who I am. Got me into things that were spooky, and I share them with you guys. So I thought it would be fun to post this here on YouTube, since a lot of my subscribers that are not on Patreon don't get to see this kind of stuff. These TerrorTube episodes they take a lot of work to make. It takes a lot of setup. It takes a lot of costuming on my part, and I try to make kind of a script, and they just take a lot of prep, which is why they are usually for paid patrons only over there. You can purchase the entire series of TerrorTube videos, because there's quite a lot there if you're a free member, and you can pay per episode release. So when I release a TerrorTube episode, which is every other month, I do make it available to purchase just that episode for a little bit of time, and then they just get added to the collection that you can purchase. So, if this is entertaining to you, you guys like this video here, maybe this will inspire you to go over to my Patreon, which, is patreon.com/Jackie Arment. And there's a lot of TerrorTubes there to watch, to tickle your fancy. I'm sure there's something there that can entertain you. I do a lot of different things on the TerrorTube videos. And, I also have Friday Night Creepover videos over there, which are more chit-chatty, and those are free. But I really, really am trying to, encourage you guys to watch these TerrorTube episodes, because like I said, they take a lot of work on my part, and they're a lot of fun, and I just, want you guys to enjoy them. That's why I'm doing this, for y'all's enjoyment, not just mine. Yeah, I guess before we get into all of that spooky stuff, I would like to say that if this is the kind of content you like, if you like this video, or you just like, spooky stuff all year round, 365, because I do that, that you would give this video a thumbs up, and you would also hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to ring the bell so you can be notified anytime I post a new video. Like I said, it's Halloween all year long here, not just in October, so if you like that, then stay with us, because there's a lot of spooky fun on this channel. And of course, you can go to Patreon. If this video is fun and you enjoyed it, please go to Patreon and enjoy more TerrorTubes and just more of the stuff I've got there. All right. Well, I guess without further ado, I will let Mistress Gravestone take it away, and we'll get into the TerraTube episode. All right. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to another episode of TerraTube. Tonight, I'm going to read some of my favorite spooky urban legends. I asked all of you out there whether you would want me to read my favorite urban legends or my favorite creepypastas, and Urban Legends won. So I'm very excited. I've compiled a few of my favorites. There are so many urban legends out there, it's kind of hard to pick. But I picked the ones that I have always kind of resonated with me and just kind of always stuck with me, even as a child. And so I thought we would read those together. So I guess without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Now, since this is a Booze and Booze episode that we're reading our urban legends, we have to have a spooky cocktail to drink while we read the spooky stories. So, I thought that the perfect cocktail for this episode, since we were doing urban legends, would be a cocktail that was based off an urban legend itself. So, if you'll follow me, we're going to go into the bathroom and we're going to summon a Bloody Mary. All right. Let's see if we can get this to work. All right. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. All right, it worked. Look at that. Okay. Well, I guess what we'll do is I will show you guys how to make a Bloody Mary. And then we'll get into the rest of our video. All right, let's go. All right, so here are our ingredients for how we're gonna make a Bloody Mary. First, you're gonna need a glass, so whatever glass you want to put your Bloody Mary in. You're gonna need V8 juice. Here is off-brand, but some vodka. Now, this is a Bloody Mary vodka that I have specifically, but regular vodka will work absolutely just fine for this. And the rest of the ingredients I am going to walk you through as we go. You're also going to need some kind of long instrument for stirring. I'm using this wooden spoon, and another little spoon to scoop out some ingredients. Alright, so first we're going to start by rimming our glass. We have a plate full of lemon juice, it's kind of hard to see, and a plate full of Tony's, which is a Cajun seasoning. We are going to put this in the Bloody Mary as well, but we're going to rim the glass with it. So you're just going to dip your glass in the lemon juice, and then dip it in the Tony's and get it all coated. Just kind of like how you would salt a margarita glass. Alright, so now we're going to mix up our Bloody Mary mix, and I like to do this in the bottle of the V8 juice. Now I did already pour a little bit out, so we have some room to put stuff in. And we're going to start by putting a little bit of lemon juice. Now, I don't measure anything when I make my Bloody Mary mix. I just do it absolutely to taste. I put a little bit in of everything, and then I stir it up and I taste it and see if it needs anything else. You're going to need some Worcestershire sauce. So forgive me for not using any measurements, but like I said, I've made this just to taste for years, and so this is how I do it. You're going to need some horseradish. Now I'm using an extra hot horseradish, but you could use any kind of horseradish you like. I use a pretty good spoonful. I mean, it's about half a spoonful, but you know, adjust this accordingly if you are not a horseradish fan. We're going to use a little bit of garlic powder. And of course, we're going to go back with the Tony's. Now, the Tony's adds a lot of, there's like salt and pepper in there, so you don't need to put any salt and pepper in your Bloody Mary. Normally you would, probably, but this has, like I said, salt and pepper. It's got a bunch of other seasonings like cayenne pepper. It's got some garlic and onion powder. It's got everything in it. You're going to need a little tiny bit of liquid smoke. And what I mean by that is very little. That stuff goes a long way, so you really don't need a whole lot. And of course, some hot sauce. Now, I'm putting a lot of hot sauce in mine because I like my Bloody Marys very spicy. But again, you do what is best for you. Sometimes I will even opt for getting spicy V8 juice already, and then I don't have to really put any hot sauce in, but we just have regular V8 juice, so we are putting in a bunch of hot sauce. And this is where our wooden spoon comes in, and we're actually going to use the handle to stir everything up. We really want to break up all of that horseradish. You could also just put the lid on and shake it up if you really wanted to. You didn't see it, but I did taste it off camera to make sure that it was perfect. And now all we're going to do is we're going to put some ice in our glass. And we're going to pour our vodka in. Now, you could just do about like a shot or two. This is very red colored because it's got like Bloody Mary spices in it already. It's just going to make my Bloody Mary extra, but again, regular vodka works perfectly fine with this mix. And we're just going to top it off with the Bloody Mary mix here. And don't forget to stir it up. And that is how I make my Bloody Mary. There we go.
All right. So we've got our Bloody Mary. We've summoned her from the bathroom mirror. Now, this is how I make my Bloody Mary. Obviously, the great thing about Bloody Marys is that you can kind of put whatever you want in there. That's kind of the fun part about it. There is kind of a standard formula, but you can kind of mix and match and make it your own. And that's what's great about it. Now, normally, traditionally, this comes with a stalk of celery. You can also garnish it with other things. I've done pickled okra, olives, pickles, whatever have you. But today we've just got a little straw, a little spooky straw, because this is a spooky Bloody Mary. So nice and spicy, just the way I like it. I really like that horseradish bite. That gives it that spice, but it's like so quick and it goes away so fast. But I am someone who likes my blood spicy, so hopefully that is for you. If it's not, obviously you can tone down the level of spice with however much horseradish or hot sauce you put in it. And again, like I said, It's a very versatile drink. You can kind of make it the way you want. I will say this Bloody Mary vodka pairs very well. It's very good, but plain vodka also does the trick very, very nicely. There are like lots of flavored vodkas you can get that work well with Bloody Marys. There's like black pepper vodka. I've heard of, there was some like dill pickle vodka that would also be really good in this, I'm sure. So, you know, sky's the limit. You can really customize this drink any way you want. But all right, well, now since we've got our little cocktail here, we are going to go ahead and start reading the urban legends. All right, I've got 5 here ready to read, and I'm mostly just going to read through them. I might give a little bit of notes at the end of each one, just kind of why I like it. I'm not going to go too in deep about it, but just kind of why I like it, why it stuck with me, it's always resonated with me, and why it's one of my favorites. Obviously, if I go through these and there's an urban legend out there that's your favorite that I haven't added, that I wasn't on this list, let me know in the comments, because I would love to hear your favorite urban legends, and maybe we could do a part 2, another Booze and Booze with more urban legends later if enough of you ask for it. So, all right. Well, I guess without further ado, we'll get into the first one. The first one is called, Aren't You Glad You Didn't Turn on the Light? 2 dorm mates in college were in the same science class. The teacher had just reminded them about the midterm the next day when one dorm mate, let's call her Julie, got asked to this big bash by the hottest guy in school. The other dorm mate, Meg, had pretty much no interest in going, and being a diligent student, she took notes on what the midterm was about. After the entire period of flirting with her date, Julie was totally unprepared for her test, while Meg was completely prepared for a major study date with her books. At the end of the day, Julie spent hours getting ready for the party, while Meg started studying. Jill tried to get Meg to go, but she was insistent that she would study and pass the test. The girls were rather close, and Julie didn't like leaving Meg alone to be bored while she was out having a blast, but Julie finally gave up, using the excuse that she would cram in homeroom the next day. Julie went to the party and had the time of her life with her date. She headed back to the dorm around 2 a.m. and decided not to wake Meg. She quietly tiptoed to bed, not turning on the light, nervous about the midterm, but decided she would wake up early to ask Meg for help. In the morning, she woke up and went to wake Meg. Meg was lying on her stomach, apparently sound asleep. Julie rolled Meg over to reveal her terrified face. Julie, concerned, turned on the desk lamp. Meg's study stuff was still open and had blood all over it. Meg had been slaughtered. Julie, in horror, fell to the floor and looked up to see written on the wall in Meg's blood, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" Now this one I heard back when I was a child. I also heard one that was very similar to it called Humans Can Lick Too, which I actually almost added to this. It was kind of between this one and the other one. I felt like this one was a little more classic, and so that's why I added it, because this was kind of one of the first ones I heard. If you haven't heard the Humans Lick Too, I would recommend looking that one up. It's also very traumatizing, probably more so than this, especially if you're an animal lover. But this one is just terrifying in the fact that that someone had been murdered and was lying in their bed and you had no idea. You thought they were asleep. In some instances of the legend, she hears noises in the bed. The roommate does when she comes home, and she thinks she's like having a bad dream, or she thinks something else, but she's being murdered at the time, which is also equally terrifying. But in all instances, she doesn't turn on the light, and she doesn't notice that her roommate is dead until the morning, and she sees that written that the murderer wrote, because if she had turned on the light, she would have found out. So that's kind of what's scary about it. Someone being murdered right there. And yeah, it's kind of always stuck with me. It's always been a really scary one for me. And I remember kind of staying up late at night thinking about it a lot when I was a kid. But okay, I guess we'll get on to the second one. All right, the second one is called The Clown Statue. A girl in her teens is babysitting for a wealthy family in Newport Beach, California. The family had a very large house with a ridiculous number of rooms. The parents are going out for the late dinner and a movie. The father tells the babysitter, once the children are in bed, you can just watch TV and eat whatever you want from the fridge. And if you wouldn't mind, could you watch TV in our bedroom? Said the mother. The kids have been having nightmares recently, so it will be easier for you to hear them crying from the bedroom. The babysitter agreed and the parents took off. The babysitter then gave some milk and cookies to the children, got them to bed, and read them a beautiful bedtime story. Once the children were asleep, she tucked them in, switched off the lights, and went to watch some TV. She walked into the parents' bedroom, turned on the TV, and sat down. Suddenly, she noticed that there was a creepy-looking clown statue standing in the corner of the room. She tried to ignore it, but it was too disturbing. Every time she looked at the statue, she would get a creepy feeling that the statue was moving slightly. The clown freaked her out so much that she couldn't handle it any longer. Finally, she decided to call the father. Hello, it's me, the babysitter. Kids are asleep, but I was just wondering if I could watch TV downstairs. That clown statue is really freaking me out. What clown statue? Asked the father. The one in your bedroom, she replied. There was a moment of silence. The father then said seriously, get the kids out of the house right now and call 911. What's wrong? She asked. We don't have a clown statue, the father replied. The babysitter was shocked for a moment, but then she ran, grabbing the children and carrying one under each arm, each out of the house. She then called 911 and began to walk as fast as she could. While walking down to the street, she looked up at the bedroom window and saw something that scared her to death. Peeking through a gap in the curtains, there was a white painted face of a clown. It stared at her for a moment. Within minutes, the police arrived and entered the house. They found a man dressed as a clown with a knife under his suit, and they arrested him. The clown turned out to be a mentally disturbed man who was convicted of murder. The man had been stalking the family for months, hiding in the attic during the daytime and sneaking around the house at night. For weeks, the children had been complaining about a clown statue that stood in their room and watched them sleep, but the parents just dismissed it as nightmares. All right, so I think we know why this one is scary. It's scary because, well, for some people, clowns are scary. And then just also having a murderer hiding in plain sight. Again, another kind of theme here of the ones that kind of freaked me out. Now, this is also very reminiscent of the babysitter one where she's getting calls from inside the house. So if you've heard that one, that's a little more classic one. She's getting calls by some weird person that's saying, you know, come upstairs to go check on the children, or have you checked on the children, over and over. And then when she calls the police, they trace the call and they're like, the call's coming from inside the house. And so the killer was in the house the whole time calling her. So this is kind of a similar thing. So we have a killer hiding, but I think the clown statue makes it a little bit scarier because it's a clown, and then also it's standing in the room staring at her. So like this whole time it was just right there, like the murderer was just standing right there. That's really scary. I think that's why I like this one a little bit more. It just kind of like ups the ante. I'm not particularly that scared of clowns, but just the hiding as a statue thing is scary. So it could have been anything. It didn't have to be a clown. It could have been anything that, but I don't know. I like this one. And again, it's another one that I've heard a couple of times and stuck with me. Also, the babysitter getting the calls is, kind of the other version of this story. But either way, equally terrifying. Take another sip of our drink before we go to the next. All right. The next one is called The Boyfriend's Death. A girl and her boyfriend were driving at night down an isolated country road. As they drove, the sky seemed to get darker and darker. Eventually, they lost their way and found themselves driving through a densely wooded area that neither of them recognized. Suddenly, the car started sputtering and eventually stalled. The boyfriend looked at the gauge and realized that they had run out of gas. No matter how many times he turned the key, the engine just wouldn't start. The girlfriend began to panic because it was after midnight and they were stuck in the middle of nowhere and couldn't get home. The boyfriend got out of the car and took a look around. They were in a secluded and wooded area. All he could see were trees. There seemed to be no houses for miles around. They were completely alone. The girlfriend was spooked and kept asking the boy to do something. He told her he would have to walk back to the main highway and get help. The boyfriend could see his girlfriend was scared, so he told her not to worry. He would return as fast as he could, but the girl could see the concern on his face. Kissing her goodbye, he told her to roll up the windows and lock the doors. Then he set out walking down the road. The girl watched as her boyfriend got further and further away and finally disappeared into the darkness. Hours passed, and the girl sat shivering in the car, fearful of every shadow she saw and every noise she heard. She began to feel like her boyfriend was never coming back. Suddenly, she heard a loud tapping noise on the roof of the car. Tap, tap, tap. She began to panic, but was too terrified to get out and investigate. She kept trying to peer out the windows, but it was too dark to see anything. Tap, tap, tap. The tapping noise seemed to go on and on. The girl was scared to death, but there was nothing she could do. Tap, tap, tap. She was forced to remain huddled in the car all night long, listening to the weird tapping sound. Eventually, she managed to fall asleep. When she woke up and looked at her watch, it was 9 a.m. But when she tried to look out of the car windows, everything was completely black. She couldn't understand what was going on. Suddenly, she heard a car pull up nearby and honk its horn 3 times. Then she heard a voice shouting, "This is the police. Is there anyone in the car?" The girlfriend sighed with relief. "Ugh, just me," she cried. "My boyfriend left me here alone and never came back." "Okay, stay calm," said the policeman. "Listen to me very carefully. Open the door, get out of the car, and walk towards me. But whatever you do, don't look behind you." The girl obeyed the policeman's orders. Even though her hands were shaking and her mind was racing, she opened the car and stepped out. "Now walk towards me," said the policeman, "and don't look behind you." The girl began walking slowly towards the policeman, but suddenly she stopped in her tracks. "Don't look behind you," shouted the policeman, but it was too late. The girl couldn't help herself. She turned around and began screaming in horror. Her boyfriend's dead body was hanging upside down from a tree branch over the car. His head had been chopped off, and blood was dripping down from his neck, completely covering car windows. So that was the tapping she heard, was the blood dripping. Now, this one I remember hearing on a car ride once. I was in it was like a long time ago. It was a trip out of town and with a bunch of friends. The trip was just a few hours away. And so when we were coming back from the trip, it was nighttime and we were like kind of telling stories. And this one was told to me. I remember being kind of like a preteen, and I remember it really freaking me out. I remember it being told like it had, kind of felt classic urban legend, like it was a friend of a friend heard that it happened to somebody really, but I think once I started realizing that there were like kind of different versions of the story, that I realized, okay, no, it wasn't real, it was fake. Because there's another version where the boyfriend who's dead is also hanging upside down and hit, but she's hearing scratching on the car roof, and it's his like nails scratching against the car because he's like swinging back and forth. So that's also scary, but I feel like I feel like the decapitated version is terrifying. I know there's also one where his throat is slit and the blood is dripping, same situation. It's all just, all of it is just very scary. To be stranded in the woods in your car, for one thing, is terrifying. And then also you're hearing foreign noises and, you're all alone and really scary. But this has always stuck with me. This one always stuck with me. The specific version did. I remember where I was when I heard it, and it's just a really classic urban legend. It's a very classic, don't park in the car with a boy story, because you have the other one that's the other classic Lover's Lane story is the one with the hook, which if you've heard that one, I'm sure everyone has heard that one. If you haven't, look it up. It's another similar situation. It's a very classic urban legend, but it's a good one. It's always been a favorite of mine. And anyway. All right. Well, we've got 2 more stories left. Before we get into those, though, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back and read the other 2. Okay? See you in a little bit.
Terror 2 will be right back.
For Halloween, Toys R Us doesn't miss a trick, and the prices are a treat. We've got costumes for all Toys R Us kids, even grown-ups, and loads of candy, makeup, masks, and more. Toys R Us will make your Halloween supernatural.
This morning, Billy looked like any other boy, but as the moon rose, he turned into a werewolf. He used new Pa's Halloween makeup kits. His friends did too. Look, Mike's a vampire. Amy's a ghost. Pa's makeup is safer than masks. It never blocks vision, and it's hypoallergenic too. So watch your kids turn into the creatures they really are with new Pa's Halloween makeup kits.
Count Chocula, I am a ghost, and if you don't tell everyone that Frankenberry is the world's super sweet cereal, I will have to scare you.
Phooey, phooey, Frankenberry. Count Chocula is the world's super sweet cereal.
But I've got strawberry sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
And I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Quiet, please. Oh, Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
And now back to Terror 2.
Okay, we're back. I have 2 more urban legends left to read. We're getting into, like, 2 of these are about my favorite, some of my absolute favorite ones. I think this last one has become my favorite in recent years. So I'm excited. All right, let's get going. All right. The next one is The Knife in the Grave. There were these 2 young girls named Cassie and Anne, who were the best of friends. Anne was spending the night at Cassie's house, and since it was near Halloween, the 2 of them were in Cassie's room telling ghost stories. Cassie had just told a story she had heard from her big brother. The story said that if you stab a knife into a grave on an October night, the person in the grave will reach up, grab you, and pull you back into the grave with them. "Oh, I don't believe that," exclaimed Anne. It is unbelievable, but I wouldn't want to try it," said Cassie. "I wouldn't be too scared to try," said Anne. Feeling a little put off by Anne's boasting, Cassie mentioned the old cemetery right by their property and suggested that Anne should prove it. Anne, not really wanting to follow through with the experiment, but too proud to back down, picked up a candle and started for the kitchen. Cassie followed close behind her. "Please don't go. I believe you, Cassie, but I wouldn't go out there." But before either one knew what they were doing, Anne was headed out the door, knife in hand. "I'll be right back," she said. Cassie sat down at the table and waited in the darkness. A cold chill ran down her neck. 15 minutes went by. 30. An hour. Cassie was terrified. Where was she? Finally, she could take it no more. She ran crying to her parents' room. "Oh, Mom, Dad, something awful has happened to Anne. I just know it has." Cassie sobbed in her mother's arms as her parents struggled to awaken and learned the whole story. Her father got his gun and lantern and headed for the cemetery. When he got to it, he couldn't believe the sight he saw. There was Anne, dead, lying on a grave. Her brown hair had turned white. As Cassie's father turned her over, he saw what had happened. When she had stabbed the large knife into the grave, she had run it through the hem of her nightgown. When she tried to get up, the knife held her in place, and she must have thought she had been grabbed. She had died of fright. She really had been pulled into a grave. I like this one because it's a little bit of, nothing really supernatural is happening in this one. There's no actual killer. The character does it to themselves. Now, there are a bunch of different adaptations of this one, but I like this one the most. A lot of them are where the ghost actually does kill the person at the grave because the ghost that is vengeful, it turns out the person who was sleeping by the grave on a dare was related to the ghost in some way or something like that, and it got revenge. And those are all fine and good, but I like this one because I kind of like the ironic ending. We have this person who is boasting that they're not scared and they'll go stick the knife in the grave, but when they do it, it catches on their own clothes and their own fear gets the best of them. They think they're being pulled into the grave like the story says, but they weren't actually. It was them that did it the whole time, and they die of fright there. So I like that ending better. Now, I've heard that this is like one of the oldest urban legends, actually, and you can kind of tell through some things in the story. You can tell, like, the knife, sticking a knife in the grave seems very kind of old-fashioned. There's some things in here, like the father grabs his lantern to go to the to the cemetery. There's things sprinkled in here that feel very old-fashioned, so it is a very old urban legend, but I like that. I think it's fun. It seems like an old ghost story, something you would tell at a sleepover, something that I would probably have written myself in a ghost story. So I don't know. I like this one. It's fun. I also, as a kid, I did have a friend who had an old cemetery in her neighborhood that we used to go sneak and go to at night and do spooky things like this, seances and stuff. So this also resonates with me because of that. And so that's one reason why I really like this one. All right, we got the last one. And this one is actually kind of a more recent urban legend, at least as far as I'm concerned. I only heard it like the past, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 5-7 years or so. It could have been around a lot longer than that. I don't know, and I'm not sure if it was ever told by mouth or if it was written on the internet. So I guess, it could have been technically a creepypasta, but I feel like it gets told by mouth so much now, at least I've heard it by mouth, as kind of like a ghost story, that I feel like it's more urban legendy. But I remember the first time I heard it and I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so creepy. So I had to add it to this list, even though it's more new. It's not super classic, and I don't know if any of you guys out there have heard it. So I'm excited to read it to see if you guys like it or if you have heard about it. So, all right, here we go. This one is called The Keyhole. A traveling salesman stopped at a shabby motel for the night and checked in at the front desk. The lady gave him his key and told him that on his way to his room, there was a door with no number that was locked. Nobody is allowed in, she told him, and don't be tempted to look inside. The room is off limits to all. So, as a good man should, he followed the instructions of the woman, going straight to his room and soon after to bed. The next night, his curiosity piqued him. He'd barely slept the night before because his mind was racing, wondering what could be in that room that he wasn't supposed to see. He walked down the hall to the door and paced in front of it for a moment. Started to try the handle, stopped, and started again. As he had thought it would be, it was locked. Standing for a moment, he finally bent down and looked through the wide, old-fashioned keyhole. It was old, made of brass, and looked as if a skeleton key should be paired with it. Cold air passed through it, turning the orb that was his eye into ice. What he saw was a motel bedroom, not unlike his, completely with worn carpet and stained comforter, tarnished bedside lamp, and peeling wallpaper. Except in the corner was a woman, standing, whose skin was white as ivory with hair as black as ink. She was leaning into the wall, nose in the corner like a child who had misbehaved and is being punished for it. He stared in mute fascination for a while, and more than a little confusion, but she never moved. He became worried. She was unnaturally still. He could not even detect her taking the faintest of breaths. Was she a mannequin? A doll? He almost knocked on the door out of curiosity, out of worry and fascination, and some compulsion. Something whispered in the back of his mind that he needed to go in. He needed to save her. He almost knocked, almost tried the knob again. Something told him that this time it would not be locked. But something stayed his hand. He had been warned away from this door, this room. Something was not right. He turned and left the door, holding up in his room for the night. only to go to bed and toss and turn in fitful sleep, haunted by formless terrors both in his dreams and out. The next day, the salesman determinedly strode to the door and looked through the still glinting, still icy keyhole. This time, all he saw was red. He couldn't make out anything beyond the unnerving crimson color. He thought maybe he'd been found out, tattled upon, and the occupants of the room had covered the keyhole. He was angry that he could not see the lady one more time before leaving, but something about the red nagged at him, hovering at the back of his mind. Something was not right. As he was checking out and turning in the key, he decided to ask something of the woman guarding the desk. "Would you mind telling me why the room with no number is off limits?" he asked. She looked him in the eye a moment and finally took a deep breath. "Did you look?" she asked. "Tell me true." The salesman was on the verge of telling her that he had, but after a slight moment of hesitation that he hoped she hadn't seen, he told her that he had not looked in, but was just curious as to the story. "Well, I might as well tell you. A long time ago, before my time here, a strange couple rented out that room. Acted oddly from what I hear. One night, about a week into their stay, and in utter silence, the husband murdered his wife in that room. Her ghost haunts it," she said with complete certainty. "A few people have dared look into that room, and all who have seen her ghost look back, have died gruesome deaths." At this point, the salesman took an easy breath because he had looked at her, but she had not looked back. "Every single person who had looked," the receptionist continued, "they all went mad before they died, all rambling about the ghost's horrible glowing red eyes." Ooh, so basically, when he was looking through that keyhole and he saw red the second time, that was her eyes just like looking right back at him. So she was looking right back at him through the keyhole. Oh, it's so creepy. It is so creepy and unnerving. I remember, like I said, when I remember hearing that, I think I read it on the internet and I was just like, oh my gosh, that is such a good ghost story and it's super creepy. And I just like absolutely, like, it got me, you know, kind of like all urban legends do. That ending just like hit me with a punch, and I absolutely love it. So that has become like my new favorite urban legend so far. I don't know if any of you have heard it. I know some people have done, you know, animated videos of that story on YouTube, but if you hadn't heard it and this was your first time, I hope you enjoyed it because it's a good one. Haunted hotels already are kind of unsettling for me, but I love a good ghost story. That's what you get here. And just, you know, peeking into a room you're not supposed to look in, and just the unnerving thought that when he thought that it was just like something red had been put up against the door, it was actually her glowing eyes. She was looking right at him through the keyhole. It is just really creepy, man. But I absolutely love it. So that's my favorite one, I think, out of all of them. But the rest of them, you know, they're nostalgic for me because I remember hearing them as a child, like being told them as a spooky story at a sleepover or, you know, on a car ride. And, you know, it's just fun. Being scared and telling spooky stories to one another is fun. And, you know, we don't get a lot of that by mouth anymore. A lot of it is on the internet to read, which is great, like the creepypastas. But I don't know, there's just something about telling a spooky story around a campfire or at a sleepover. And I don't know, there's just something about that is just very different and just wonderful. And I love it. And I hope that that kind of thing continues and that, you know, kids keep that up and, you know, do that with one another. And because it's just fun. Life without the boogeyman isn't fun, right? All right, well, I guess that is it for tonight's Booze and Booze episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you made a Bloody Mary along with me while we read the stories. If you've never had a Bloody Mary before, I hope you try one and see if you like it. It is a polarizing drink. Not everybody likes them because they are savory, and if you don't like, you know, tomato juice, you might not like it. But It is one of my favorite drinks. It's one of my favorite brunch drinks. I don't know. Hopefully, if you make it my way, I might turn you into a Bloody Mary lover if you're not already. So, but anyway, yes, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked spending the night with me telling spooky stories. I know I enjoyed it. And, you know, who knows? Maybe we'll do another Booze and Booze, either more urban legends if you want me to, or I could do creepypastas next time. I know it lost the vote, but some of you seemed kind of sad that it didn't win, so who knows? We might could do that next time. So just let me know in the comments how you feel. And I guess, as always, sweet nightmares, scream if you need anything, and I will see you in the next episode of TerraTube. Goodbye!
TerraTube is a Patreon exclusive. Created, edited, and produced by me, Jackie Arment. And made possible by viewers like you. Thank you, patrons. And of course, hosted by me, Jackie Arment.
All right, that was it. That's the end. I hope you guys really liked it. This is about like the typical length of a TerraTube episode. They are kind of long, but you know, I try to get the most out of what I'm doing when I film them. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this encourages and maybe inspires you to go watch some more. Like I said, they're very fun to make. They are very time consuming, but I do enjoy doing them, and I just want you guys to also enjoy them too. I will maybe try to do this every once in a while, post a TerraTube to my YouTube channel if you guys want me to, if it does not have a lot of copyright constraints. A lot of the reason I do this series on Patreon specifically is because there are things that I can get copyright strike for, because I like to do movie reviews with this and, you know, other things. It kind of started because the first 2 TerraTubes I ever did was I talked about the songs that are on my Ultimate Halloween playlist that I have worked on for years, and I can't play those songs on YouTube without it getting, you know, flagged. So, and I wanted to be able to play those songs for you as I talked about them. So that was what started this whole thing. So, you know, that's why I do it. But if I have a couple of these episodes like this one that aren't necessarily don't have copyright material, maybe I will post them every once in a while. If you guys liked this, let me know, because then I'll do that. And, you know, obviously more on Patreon to enjoy, if I haven't said that enough. Yeah, I guess, you know, other than that, obviously, if you liked this, please give it a thumbs up. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell so you can be notified anytime I post a new video. As far as new videos go, the next one is probably going to be how our Halloween party went. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about how it went. So I usually do a vlog kind of video where I go into how it went, all of that stuff. But yeah, so look forward to that. You know, as always, there's more things on Patreon. I will link also my social media in the description of this video, like I always do. So my Instagram and TikTok, where just other things that don't make it to YouTube videos end up there. You know, everyday life stuff. If you're following me on Instagram, you will probably see pictures and videos of the end result of the party before I talk about it on YouTube. So if you kind of want to see the results of how the party went a little bit, you'll get a little bit of that before I talk about it. And I will also leave a link to my Etsy shop, even though as this video comes out, it will be on vacation. I put my shop on vacation for the last 2 weeks of October because I just have a lot going on and I can't even think about doing Etsy stuff. Unfortunately, it'll be on vacation as this video airs, but if you're watching this video at another time, you can purchase anything there all year long. I do spooky, Halloween-y, kind of witchy prop potion stuff. So yeah, think about ordering something there. Also, if you don't know and you want more spookiness from me, I have written 2 books.
and that are available for purchase. One is a zombie romance, and one is a vampire adventure story. They are both available as paperback and Kindle versions on Amazon. And then also personalized signed copies are available on my Etsy shop. I have a section there on my Etsy shop called Author Central, where I have both books available, paperback versions, where I sign them and can personalize and write whatever, little note in there for you if you want. They are a little bit cheaper on my Etsy shop, by the way, than they are on Amazon, but that's just because Amazon can't take my profits when I sell them on Etsy. So, I like it when you guys purchase it on Etsy because, again, it's cheaper for y'all, and then I get to kind of give you guys a little personalized book, which is, I love to do that. So, but I will also leave a link to my author website and my author Facebook page where you can find all of like how to purchase and all of that stuff. And then my author website does update on things that I'm currently working on. So my projects now, there's sneak peeks of stuff there. The book that I'm currently writing, and then a project that I'm doing after that, a book after that, that is just currently in the brainstorming stage. But anyway, so all of that's there. There's plenty of spooky stuff for you guys, other than all of this on YouTube. But again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween. It's almost here. I feel like every year spooky season flies by. I always try to savor it, and it just seems to go by faster and faster every year. But anyway, I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful Halloween and you enjoy it regardless of how crazy the world is right now. Try to just savor that Halloween feeling and enjoy it while we can. And yeah, I guess other than that, stay spooky, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!